Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. The Democratic leadership stood on the steps of the East Front of the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon to demand a vote on a clean continuing resolution that would fund the government and end the shutdown. Our very own Delegate to Congress, Donna Christensen, joined the Democrats during this movement, and News 2's Shanika Robinson has details.
Delegate to Congress Donna M. Christensen joined Democratic leadership on the steps of the East Front of the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon to demand a vote on a clean continuing resolution that would fund the government and end the shutdown.
But I joined them on the steps yesterday because I believe that we should have a clean CR. We should at least put it to a vote. The fact that not being even allowed to be voted on is very unfair and undemocratic.
The shutdown has already begun to impact federal workers, businesses, and contractors here in the Virgin Islands.
I would imagine that our vet centers are not closed, that they are having a skeleton staff, given that the government is shut down. We understand that WIC is not available. The National Guard has been impacted by it.
Even though the shutdown is currently in effect, some federal government programs are still doing their part.
What are being processed are the Social Security checks, SNAP or food stamps, temporary assistance to needy families, and Medicare payments to providers.
The Virgin Islands was already reeling from the shutdown of its largest private employer, high energy costs, and reduced government revenues. Congresswoman Christensen is hopeful that the shutdown will come to an end once the Democratic leadership is given the opportunity to vote on a clean continuing resolution.
If we had a chance to just vote on a clean continuing resolution to put the government back to work, to keep the services available to the public, that it would pass.
Shanika Robinson, News 2.
Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated on the federal government shutdown and its impact on the Virgin Islands. Well, that was Wednesday. Earlier today, the U.S. Capitol went into lockdown after police say a suspect tried to ram a car onto the White House grounds. Danielle Nottingham has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Sources tell CBS News a woman tried to ram her car through a White House barricade today. Police then chased the woman about a mile to Capitol Hill, where Secret Service agents shot and killed her. The chase was captured on camera. Police surrounded the car with their guns drawn. Then the car backs up and speeds off. A Capitol police officer was injured during the chase.
One of our officers was struck in his scout car. He appears to be conscious and breathing, but we're following up.
And no officer shot, Chief?
As far as we know, no officer has been shot.
There was a massive police response. Capitol Hill was temporarily locked down. House and Senate members who were in the middle of debating about the government shutdown were told to shelter in place and stay away from windows. Mark Craddock is a furloughed government worker from Virginia. He and his wife Teresa came to Washington to talk to their congressman. Then they got caught up in this.
I kind of dropped down to my knees, and then everybody started. I kind of looked at my husband like, where do we go? Where do we go?
The car sped down that street, and all of the response vehicles were right behind him. And then we heard what sounded like an explosion.
Police have not said why the woman struck the White House barrier. They also have not released her identity.
Well, according to the latest report, that lady has been killed. We'll have an update. Meanwhile, it's the 3rd day of the partial government shutdown, and earlier today, before all the chaos, there were no signs of an end to the stalemate between Democrats and Republicans.
President Obama says the partial government shutdown could be ended today with a vote on a short-term spending bill, but he says House Republicans won't let that happen.
Speaker John Boehner won't even let the bill get a yes or no vote because he doesn't want to anger the extremists in his party.
President Obama accuses Republican leaders of giving in to Tea Party members who are obsessed with stopping his health care reforms.
We should sit down and have a discussion. But because there is an insistence on no negotiations, no talking, my way or the highway, we are here.
House Republicans are taking a piecemeal approach to try and reopen parts of the government, passing bills to fund some agencies one at a time. Today, they're pushing to pay National Guard troops. But Senate Democrats call that strategy an irrational ploy. A new CBS News poll shows that more Americans blame congressional Republicans for the shutdown and that most Americans want compromise. Many Republicans acknowledge a bill to fund the full government without any strings attached would pass the House easily if Republican leaders allowed a vote. The shutdown has put some 800,000 federal workers on unpaid leave. It has closed national parks, government websites, and office buildings. And in addition to the shutdown, there's another budget crisis looming. 2 weeks from now, the U.S. government will run out of cash to pay its bills unless Congress agrees to raise the debt ceiling. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The Department of Human Services restates that the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, Medicaid, and other cash assistance program were not affected by the recent federal shutdown. Benefits for each program will be issued without interruption throughout October. Recipients of SNAP are asked to disregard any misinformation pertaining to a shortfall of funding and continue to utilize their card as usual. Meanwhile, Health Commissioner Doris Plaskett said the VI Women's, Infants, and Children Supplemental Nutrition Program, or WIC, received contingency funds from U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition to process checks for all current participants for the month of October. All WIC checks have a first date to spend date on that check. Beginning Friday, October 4th, WIC participants with appointments from October 1st through October 4th can pick up their checks from their respective WIC clinics. All other WIC participants with scheduled appointments can pick up their recertification and/or recertification may be seen from Monday, October 7th, according to their scheduled appointment times. Participants who had certification appointments from October 1st through the 4th will be contacted to schedule an appointment date, and you can call the WIC offices for more information. The Virgin Islands Humanities Council staff has been furloughed until the budget crisis in Washington is resolved. The decision to furlough staff follows the National Endowment for the Humanities closure. On the website, it states, due to the unavailability of appropriated funds to continue the operations of the National Endowment for the Humanities, the agency has been shut down. They said funding for the VIHC is immediately impacted by this circumstance, and they cannot continue to operate and incur expenses during the government shutdown. Well, the St. Thomas District of the Democratic Party, in conjunction with the Board of Election, will be holding a registration drive and demonstration of the complete new election system. That's on October 5th at the Tutu Park Mall's food court from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. All persons interested in registering to vote, you're advised to bring your birth certificate, U.S. passport, baptismal certificate, naturalization certificate, and the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. For more information, feel free to contact the St. Thomas Board of Elections for more information. Meanwhile, the Hispanic Democratic Club of the Virgin Islands is inviting the entire community to the Great Other of Directive on Saturday in the Frenchtown Community Center at 5:30 p.m. The club has been in existence for years. The newly elected president and other board members stopped by to talk about the event.
This club has existed since 2004. We actually help the community, Spanish and English, and we've been involved in different kind of activities. And this weekend, on Saturday the 5th, we're re-electing our new president. We have some successful story behind the club, and we're looking to move forward to help the community, not just the Spanish, but also the people of the Virgin Islands too.
El club lleva la proyección, como estaban diciendo mis compañeros, de ayudar en todo lo que esté al alcance del club demócrata hispano, ayudar a todas esas personas en necesidades, ya sea migratorias, todo lo que esté al alcance del club.
Nosotros también luchamos porque aquí se le quitaban los vehículos de conducir a personas que no conocían lo que eran los deberes y leyes aquí, y se desaparecían. Había que pagar una multa de $500 para poder rescatar. Ya eso se eliminó tanto aquí en San Tomás como en todas las Islas Vírgenes.
Keeping our eye on the economy, Wall Street is worried that the budget fight in Washington could turn into something worse. Failure to raise the nation's borrowing limit. If that happens, the U.S. would not be able to pay its bills. Interest rates would skyrocket, and the economy could be plunged back into a recession. 1,000 more people applied for unemployment benefits last week, but the total remains near a 6-year low. The report shows hiring remains slow. And the Labor Department has confirmed that it will not release tomorrow's September unemployment report because of the government shutdown. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow, NASDAQ, S&P all down. The Dow 136, NASDAQ 40, S&P 15. Coming up on News 2, an aviation program is about to take off. Details. Plus, crime reports have been common recently, and so have crime-related injuries. But just how bad is the violence in the territory? Hospitals have some interesting data. We'll be right back. Crime reports have been common recently, and so have crime-related injuries. But just how bad is violence in the territory? Hospitals have some interesting data, and Schneider's CEO, Bernard Wheatley, quantifies just what crime means in dollars to local hospitals. News 2's April Knight has details.
When it comes to violence, hospital emergency rooms have a front row view. As the only hospital servicing St. Thomas and St. John, Schneider has certainly seen its fair share.
Violence in the territory is very pervasive. It does have an impact on the hospital. We see quite a few cases, and I'll share the numbers with you. It's really threatening the life and health and the well-being of our community at large.
Gunshot wounds, rape, stabbings, and blunt force trauma are the most common injuries. From 2010 to 2012 alone, Schneider saw 149 cases of gunshot wounds, 145 cases of stabbings, 385 cases of rape, and 485 blunt force trauma. For Schneider, these statistics translate to dollars.
The impact from these violent crimes with no pay is really difficult.
Between 2010 and 2012, charges for treatment of these major categories of assault injuries come up to almost $5 million. Most of the patients in these cases are uninsured.
The costs are either absorbed by the hospital or absorbed by the government.
Schneider officials say money spent on treatment of injuries resulting from violent crimes could have been spent on improving hospital services for taxpayers.
Could be used to help upgrade our equipment, technology, repairs, renovations to the organization, infrastructure, enhance existing services, and recruit new talent.
The words crime does not pay holds true for hospitals in more ways than one. And as long as violence continues, they have no choice but to bite the bullet and keep treating its victims without guarantee of pay. April Knight for News 2.
Well, with the recent challenges facing the economy like crime and the effects of the shutdown, the St. Croix Democrats thought it would be fitting to host a prayer breakfast. It's the first annual event, and it will be held Saturday at the Palms at Pelican Cove at 9 a.m. Local spiritual leaders will lead the event, and Democrats say it's not geared to any specific group or faith. It's for the community.
We have the University of the Virgin Islands Choir. We have Miss Anuma At Kahina, who's going to be giving a beautiful song that I think everyone can appreciate. And I've also asked Music in Motion. We know how important they are to the arts and to our community, to create a special dance of praise that symbolizes what we're trying to represent with our prayer breakfast, which is peace, humility, and coming together to deal with some of the toughest challenges that we're having.
Officials from the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals are in the territory this week. The executive director met with administrators from the St. Croix Career and Technical Education Center on Thursday to see how they can assist with the school's new aviation program, as well as expanding their existing programs.
In the States, we have collaborations with academia, with corporate sponsors, with other nonprofit organizations. And so this gives us great opportunity to do the same thing here. There is the academy here at the school. There's also the Virgin Islands Tuskegee Airmen chapter. We have students who are from St. Thomas. We have 2 programs in Puerto Rico. And so those models will work here. The important thing is getting probably more of the corporate sponsors involved in what happens here on the island.
Well, effective October 1st, innovative customers will see a slight change in the federal universal service charge rate. It's because of an action taken by the Federal Communications Commission. Residential and single-line business subscribers will see an increase from $1.12 to $1.15 for the FUSC charge. The rate will go up from $1.61 to $1.63 per line for multi-line subscribers. However, the subscriber line charge for the same accounts will decrease from $9.20 to $9.11. Customers with questions can call Innovative at 9999. Well, big congratulations. The newly crowned Miss Miami Broad Carnival 2013 is St. Thomas's very own Jaleesa Chesterfield. Jaleesa was crowned on September 28th in the auditorium at Florida Memorial University after competing against 6 other young ladies. Not only did she take home the crown, but she also captured Best Evening Wear and Best Costume. Jaleesa graduated from Charlotte Amalie High School in 2011 and is presently attending Miami International University of Art and Design with a major in fashion design. Congratulations to her. Well, some exciting news from the Charlotte Amalie High School. They announced this week that senior Sheila Joseph has been selected as a National Achievement Semifinalist. Joseph was selected based on her outstanding performance on the 2012 PSAT. Only 1,600 students nationwide qualified for this selection, and only 3 students were named on St. Thomas. CAHS Principal Carmen Howell said Sheila continues to demonstrate academic excellence, and she maintains a record of consistently high academic performance. If she is named a National Achievement Finalist, she would also be able to compete for scholarships in the spring of 2014. Well, the very next First Friday Business Expo and fundraiser this Friday will benefit the St. Peter and Paul Catholic School, honoring Mary Gleason for community service. And this time it's being held at the Windward Passage Hotel on St. Thomas and at the same time at the Gift Hill School on St. John from 5 to 8 p.m.
St. Peter and Paul Catholic School is proud to take part in the First Friday organization. We are a very family-oriented school. We are also selling raffle tickets so that we can get our school to higher standards. Gift Hill School is also part of the First Friday organization.
We're going to have 2 locations, one here in St. Thomas and one in St. John. The organization that's going to benefit from it is my school, St. Peter and Paul School, and the Gift Hill School in St. John as well. Excellent opportunity to come out, have fun. It's all free music, free food. Milo's Kings gonna be there.
Looks like it'd be a lot of fun. That was Roxanne Reimer, who's a teacher and Raina, student of St. Peter and Paul. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.